Hello Cancer, and welcome to your in-depth horoscope forecast for January for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now, as ever, I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but then please stay with me. I will dive deep and in forensic detail outline what you can expect this following month. So on the screen now you can see we have your horoscope wheel at the start of the month. And this shows a pack of planets, the Sun, Mercury initially, Venus and Pluto, which is very much about how we relate, but it can be about where we compete as well. So those could be two big strands for you this month. But also back on that wheel, you do have the Moon, Mars, and the midpoint between the Moon in Sagittarius and the Sun in Capricorn in Sagittarius. So that's a very practical area. So some of the relating, some of the conversation, some of the dialogue you're going to have this month is going to be about practicalities. Now, of course, Uranus continues in the sign of Taurus, which for you, that's very much about being futuristic in your approach, quite independent in some way, but that is clashing with Saturn at the start of this year. So there could be a bit of a push-pull over a financial issue between what you think is truly fair or represents what's best for you in a way that another person may not quite see. So there could be some discussions, and maybe the contacts you're having with others will require quite a lot of conversation over a financial matter. But Uranus, despite this, does forge a much more positive link with the Sun, including that new moon of the 2nd. So a lot of opportunity to improve relationships. There is a challenge on the 17th when there is a full moon in your sign, which is opposed by the power due to a duo of the Sun and Pluto. So please stay with me for more. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I would be honoured if you click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And if you've yet to order your personal forecast for next year, you can do so now. Get a character analysis and 30% off. If you order in what's left of 21, you get the rest of the year free. If you order later in January, I will give you a full 12 months from that point. Please see the link beneath this video. So Cancer, as you make your way into January, a really exciting vista of energies, not least that magical link between Venus and Neptune. Neptune's in the part of your horoscope to do with exploring, to do with higher consciousness. There may be someone that you draw closer to, not necessarily romantically. It could be a spiritual connection. It could be a healer that you get to know. It can be really good for your very being over the first 12 days of this month. But also the practical collaboration of Mars and the Moon in a very precise 6th house means that you're in the mood to get things moving. And if there are issues you want to embrace around improving your diet or fitness or nutrition, you're going to be very motivated to do so this year. But if there is somebody that you can go to a gym with or keep notes with, if you're both approaching some kind of fitness plan, you can spur each other on. The new moon, which occurs on the 2nd, does see Uranus angling to the Sun in a sparkling and helpful way. I think those associations which uplift you, which are very future orientated, which are very much based on collaboration and cooperation, those are the ones you're going to want to concentrate on. But on the first day of this month, Mercury in the sign of Capricorn is in shadow. It then moves into Aquarius on the 2nd before going into retrograde on the 14th. Now it does return back into the sign of Capricorn later this month. So there is going to be a need to talk through a financial matter which may see you having to liaise quite a lot, and you might not quite get the result you want this month, but you're putting in process the dialogue to get the result that you're working towards eventually. Now also, as we start this new month, Mars is really giving you a lot of motivation and a lot of physical energy. So if you are setting your intentions on those New Year's resolutions around being a bit more physically active, then some kind of competing sport, if it's possible, COVID restrictions are allowing, such as badminton or tennis, could be a great way to come together with someone, support each other, yet have a little bit of friendly competition. Now, when it comes to competition, the Sun's joining together with Pluto in the third week, the start of the third week of this month, can be a mighty, mighty battle of wills. This is going to see you very, very determined to assert yourself in any kind of competitive situation, but it can be a bit of a deal breaker for a relationship that maybe isn't quite as strong as you thought. Now, it just so happens that Venus and Uranus forge a delightful link in the last half of this month, which can, if we're open-minded, see some very exciting and unexpected developments around all sorts of relationships, but also around money, which Venus governs. But I think for you, the Sun alongside Pluto, opposite the Moon in your sign, is really kind of saying, if you feel in a relationship that your voice doesn't get heard, you're going to make sure it's heard on the back of that full moon for the following 2 weeks. But if it still falls, it's still not being received in the way it's meant, you may feel that you have no choice but to transform something. The 20th sees the Sun joining up with Mercury and Saturn in your 8th house. Now remember, I said to you, with Saturn in a square with Uranus at the start of this year, that influence and then Mercury's retrograde means that a financial matter may require a degree of digging in and patience and tenacity. It may not quite get to where you want it to be, but the Sun moving into Aquarius will help, and Mars moving on the 24th into your opposite sign will give you even more determination to overcome any obstacles. And Venus going direct on the 29th is also very good for relationship matters in general. But you can see that despite the retrograde, Venus is alluring link to Neptune for the first 12 days, and glorious, sparkling, vivacious link to Uranus in the last 2 weeks, means that just because it's retrograde, we shouldn't think necessarily negatively, but I do feel that some kind of change on a status quo can actually be very good. Maybe it's your relationship to relationships. Maybe you're going to start to see something in a fresh and new way about how you are in the way you interact with people, and that can pour light and understanding into your approach in the times to come. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Cancer. Wishing you all the best for this new year, and goodbye for now.